Hi, and welcome to Southwest Hearts Link for Growth Community TV. If you've been watching all afternoon, you can see that I jumped out of one and straight into another one. So I'm now here with Alex Murray. Alex, come and say hello.
Hi Carol, hi viewers, how is everyone today?
If they're anything like me, they are incredibly hot.
We are suffering in Southwest Hearts. It just hit about 30 degrees today, and I struggled to sleep last night. We had a big thunderstorm down here, and it woke about 2:30, half an hour of like not sleeping, so that put me off. There was a networking breakfast that I believe Chris and Jerry went to. More on that later, but I just went no, alarm off, going back to bed, not getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh dear. That's one of the good things with the Link for Growth is the fact that not everything is at 7 o'clock in the morning. I know for me, if we had them in my area here and I was going to go along, 7 o'clock in the morning, breakfast meetings have never been my thing. I would much rather go at lunchtime or in the evening. So I can totally sort of resonate with how that feels. But I think we should sort of celebrate that we have the sunshine because we're in the UK and we don't often have such glorious summers as what we're having right now.
No, we only complain when it goes away, saying it's not warm enough, and then it's too hot. And I talk to people, it's too hot, it's too cold, it's the wrong type of heat, it's humid, it's not dry. We're never happy as British people, are we?
I know, I know. It's so strange. But hey, we have a glorious sunshine day. Have you had a glorious sunshine week? Where have you been?
It's been a busy week again. We started last Saturday on the Watford Market. Chris and I were down there. We had a coffee, we had a catch up. I got some more leaflets. Then we had a chance to talk to some stallholders and things are happening in the market that aren't progressing as they would. I mean, they told us that they've delayed the finish. The building has been delayed, so they're not moving until the end of September now, I believe. So as a result, some people have moved out because they were paid some compensation for moving, and then but they were paid, I believe, last month. So some of them took the £4,000 they were given and left, thinking that will cover them. Some haven't taken it yet, but I've seen sales drop because there's less and less people there now, and it's just really down at the moment, it feels. So we were there trying to pick up the spirits of what we're doing and how we can help them if they're moving, because once they move, no one will know where they are, and that was really good. And then we went down to Watford at the start of the summer market, as we talked about last week, and it was really good. And there was a great art stalls. A few people we talked to there came along to the drinks evening Thursday night. I got a chance to speak to one of the local councillors about the Link for Growth message and the kind of different aspects of what we're doing and how they wanted to get involved. And it was really good on Saturday as well. And the weather was the start of the build up to this week.
Awesome. And I know Chris did some videos. There was some people doing jive dancing down at one of the events you were at, wasn't there?
Yeah, that was at the Summer Road Market. Queens Road Summer Market. The local Jive Club. He did a 15-second video in the community. I took a photo of the details of them. So if you want to go and find out more, I believe they meet Tuesday nights. And yeah, it was quite a good. It's every other week until I believe the end of August. So it was quite an interesting day, and hopefully go around down there in a couple of weeks to see new people, different things going on.
Awesome. Great stuff. So where else have you been this week?
We've had two Link for Growth events this week. We had the coffee in the Croxley Business Park, which is about 10 minutes away from me, where I am now, and you've just picked up. I don't know if the viewers can see it, but this is a picture of the Link for Drinks last night. This was about 8:30, 9 o'clock, so a good crowd. You have a great mix of old and new people. I don't know if anyone else noticed, but they pulled the wool over my eyes. Jerry Ridioff came down from Durham in the North Yorkshire region, and I had no idea they pulled the wool over my eyes. So that's 1-1 because I did that. I pulled the wool over Chris's eyes a few months ago, and she came down. So and then it was just a great mix of old and new, and charities and businesses, and talking, and it was a really good evening.
Cool. Looks like a really nice place as well.
Yeah, that's the local Weatherspoons on the high street. It used to be, here's a story that we'll tell every time we're in there, because it was built to be an extension of the Metropolitan line. And this was going to be an inner London, inner Watford stop. But the Earl of Canterbury, who owned Canterbury Park, said that he's not happy with them building his land. They couldn't build a station. So they couldn't build the railway line out through. So they had this Art Deco 1920 style building and nothing to put in it. So they built a pub, and it's where we had the drinks evening.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, one person came there because of a one-to-one I had at the Crocs Business Park on Tuesday. He'd found it through Street Life, which is a website set up about kind of directory and kind of asking for the builders and fences. I put some growth stuff on there. He's seen it. He's seen some of the training. He's going to get involved in the training. And we had a chat about what we're doing. He said, when's the next thing? I said, Thursday night. He said, great, sounds interesting. Came along, had a really good chat, and he's going to get more involved in where he is, part of the region in Croxford. So there'll be developments there, I hope.
Oh, that sounds really exciting. And I think this is something that I always love hearing when I'm doing these TV shows or when I'm just talking to any of you, the Link for Growth DLs or Chris, and lots of things happen because of a conversation. And I think that is so good because quite often people forget to have conversations.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much we are conversation. We're social creatures in a way. We are. I find I'm at the best when talking to people, interacting with more than just close family or whoever I live with. You have to talk to other people, otherwise you're not doing anything. And the kind of last thing I did this week was just speak to local councillors. I've got three of them have been interacting with this week at different mediums, some on Facebook, some through email. One I've met, and she's going to come to a coffee. One is very interested in growth and wants to know how we can help with a project he's working on about. Unfortunately, a 6-year-old girl was killed in Watford, and as a result, he wants to bring in some safety measures, but the local funding isn't available for it. So he wants to know if businesses, if we can have an event and get sponsorship and see if we can raise money for the safety measures.
And I think that's a really great thing. You know, quite often people make assumptions that there is always money available, especially if it's a councillor or it's an MP or somebody that is seen to be in a certain position within our communities. There are assumptions made, but there are a lot of things that need to be done, that need the local community to really get together to make them happen. I was actually completely irrelevant to your area, but I actually watched Glasgow Girls this week, and it's actually, I didn't realise when I watched it that it was based on a true story. I went and did some research afterwards, and it is a true story, and it was all about how a local community of kids, so school kids, actually came together and their teacher, and they built a real group, a real community group. And at first the whole of their community was against what they were doing, and even some of the girls were against it. And then they started to listen to each other. They started to listen to the stories, and they listened to the conversations and listen to why this was so important to some of these girls. And they realized, and when they sort of realized by listening and having conversations, more and more people started to get involved. And as I was watching it, I was really thinking of Link for Growth, you know, and these are the sorts of things that happen in Link for Growth, and that Link for Growth is bringing this together and helping people out there who want to do something for the local community, who want to make a difference, to actually make it happen.
Yeah, I see Link for Growth as very much a vehicle to enable people to find out about things, especially this, where they're coming to venues, you find out what's going on, whether it's L4G youth, whether it's the over 50s project, whether it's buy local project, whether it's anything we're doing. It's about generating interest and telling people this is what we're doing, and then if they want to go and get involved, they can, and they can get involved at a base level, just coming to a coffee and supporting. They can get involved by running a coffee maybe, and then there's a whole progress of taking someone from the very beginning when it comes to the first event to then being in my position now. So I've been on the journey. It's just about taking people and finding where they want to go, and whether it's that they want to come along the sport, whether it's they want to subscribe, and that gets them more benefits, whether they want to host a coffee, whether they want to take a region of a district, so 2 or 3 coffees in a town, let's say in my district, or whether they want to go and say, I want to be a district leader, and then take it on from there.
Yeah, and of course it's also about the community who don't want to actually get that involved with it by taking on a responsibility, but they do want to get involved with their local community. They do want to bring that community spirit back, and they want to actually connect with local people and know about local things that are happening that they can get involved in. They want to meet more people that they can offer solutions to if they're in a business. So it's sort of like everything all coming together for everybody, and everybody has a place and everybody has a part that they choose to play, isn't that?
Yeah, and everyone's got things they like outside of work. They've got hobbies, and then branching on from what we just talked about, there's a lot happening in Watford over the coming week, and I've picked up a few of the highlights. I'm going to start off with something that is launching today, and it's quite new, in fact. It's in conjunction with the Watford Women's Centre. There's a charity we've worked really closely with over the last 6 months, and what it is I don't know if you've seen the L4G community, Carol, but there's a few photos coming up of buildings in Watford. Of someone, Diane Richardson from the Women's Centre, who comes to the event on behalf of the Women's Centre, put up a photo of a building in Watford, and out of nothing, saying this is a really nice building, and off the back of that, people start saying, "Oh, that is a nice building. This is my favourite building in Watford." So what we've done is there's going to be a competition running from today until the 18th of August, and all you have to do is take a picture of your favourite building in either Bushey, Rickmansworth, or Watford, and on anything you can, as long as you're an amateur. So it's not a professional competition. So you can take it on your iPhone, your iPad, if you've got a basic camera, if you've got a high-end camera, but you're just an amateur photographer. All you do is put it into the community, the L4G Watford community, and from there it'll be judged by a select group of people, and then the winners will be asked if they would like to. We're just finding it now. That's really good.
There's the community for everybody.
Yeah. If you haven't checked out the community, have a type in L4G Watford. It's for anyone who lives, plays, or works in the area, and there's an awful lot going on. And I'll just pop back to what I was saying. The winners of the competition will be asked if they would like to have their pictures displayed in the Watford Women's Centre and sold. And put along with a frame, you can submit it, and then they're up for sale. And the Women's Centre will take 25% of everything sold, and then the individual people whose artwork has been selected will get the rest. It's a great way of just taking a picture. That is the original picture that was that started this idea, and then it spawned from there. And I think it was really good to kind of take an idea that's not something different, that's something Link for Growth can support, and using our medium of Google Plus and the community to help use some funds and get people interested in the community, interested in buildings in Watford, and away from Watford's just a dull. There's the shopping centre, there's Charter Place, which is a bit run down. Trying to highlight kind of different buildings in Watford.
I think that's a great idea, and I brought those up and managed to find something in the community really quickly because I didn't know you were going to talk about that, so that's why I went over. But it also is, it's a great competition. It's a great way to help a charity, and it's a great way to help other people actually learn a little bit more about where they live.
Yeah, and there's a lot of buildings that have got history that have had. One of the buildings, which isn't a picture in the community, is now the Watford New Hope Trust charity shop, but we believe it was an old co-op store. And it's just, all these buildings have history, but if you've only lived here for 10 years, you may only know it as the first building you see, the building you see here, but there isn't necessarily enough information about the history of the buildings. So that's going on until the 18th of August. All the information in a much clearer sense is on the community, so go and have a look at that. We'll put a link to the community at the end of this in the description, so you can go and find that. What else is going on in Watford? We have the Watford Borough Council have decided to cut the licences for street licences, so you can now, cafes have the ability not to pay to have seating outside, which brings the idea of a cafe culture into Watford. So making it cheaper for them to have stalls outside and cafes, seating areas outside. Try and take advantage of the new renovated parade, and just try and improve that area, get a cafe culture and street traders. And because I believe in the winter I believe there's going to be an ice rink around that area, and they're looking to have kind of chestnut stalls and roasted nuts there, and so they're going to get street traders as well, and to create a cafe culture, kind of an interesting buzz going on the high street.
That sounds great. I know when I used to live abroad, I actually lived in Vienna for quite a few years, and that street culture and the cafe sort of culture outside and people walking past and joining in, and then the ice skating that is right in the middle of the city centre, is just brings everybody together even more, because they come out of their doors rather than it all being, well, you have to go into that shop. It sort of brings out that community feel. And when we go back, you think about, and I'm not that sure, 50s, 60s, I think perhaps, there was still lots of street parties that used to happen. And when you see the old videos and the old pictures, there's so many smiling faces that we don't tend to see as much of today. So I think bringing that out, I think that's a great thing that Watford have done, that they're allowing people to do that and making it affordable for them to do that, to bring that culture back.
Yeah, and the thing is just about bringing the ability of people to get together. There's a few cafes in the area now saying we have our open seating policy. We encourage people to mingle with each other because very much a few years ago the cafes were there, but it was very much people go in, take a paper, take their iPad, take a book, and sit down. But if you put a bag there, it's almost like that seat's not taken, but I'm stopping anyone else sitting there by having my bag there. But it's getting people to talk to each other again, and whether you just talk and have over a cup of coffee and it's just a how are you type thing, that's fine, but not it's kind of I've got my bag here, I can't have anyone else at this table. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully as the summer progresses, and as if the weather's this nice, this time next year there'll be a buzzing kind of cafe culture in Watford. And moving on, this weekend again, there's a few things going on. If you're a fan of folk music, I'm sure some of you are, Rickmansworth tomorrow is a place to be between 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. Folk festival going on. There's multiple venues, cafes, bars everywhere, free event, so it's all free. So go and check that out if you're in the area. If you're a fan of comics, you have Watford's first Comic Con is coming to the Watford Museum, starting at 5 p.m. tomorrow and finishing at 10 o'clock. And just there's stuff going on, fun about comics, going with some drawings. There's a quiz. There's a sci-fi disco, I believe. So it could be quite an interesting event. And tomorrow on the High Street, if the weather is good, it'll be a great event. If not, it'll still be a good event. There's going to be a sports day. As part of Watford's big events, they're going to have a load of different sports you can try. I believe there's tennis, there's some BMX, there's some cheerleading, there's golf. I believe there might be some cricket. And just you can try out a different sport. If you've never played cricket before or never tried BMX, you can go and check it out and see what it's it. And it's just that there's an awful lot happening in Watford this weekend, and hopefully the weather stays not as hot as this, but a bit nicer.
I think it's planned. Hopefully, it's planned.
Um,
So it just sounds, every time I listen to you, Alex, and I think, God, there's so much that goes on down there. One day I'm going to do what Jerry did yesterday and actually hop down and come and join in with some of that.
Next time Joey's coming down, she says she's coming down in September. Pop along, get her pick up on the way, and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. If I'd known she was coming yesterday, I'd have got her to pick me up yesterday, but I didn't know until she was past me and already a bit further south, so I couldn't say, oh, just detour off the A1 and come and get me.
Yeah, I didn't have a clue until she walked in the bar. I went, hang on, I recognise that person, but not. When you recognise someone, but not in the place you normally see them. I was like, what are you doing here? You're not meant to be here, but why are you here? Almost. It was again a brilliant evening. It just gave a different buzz to it, and showing that you don't just because you're part of one community, link growth and national things. So if you want to go and see what's happening in Redcar and you've been encouraged by their community of Beachside, and you want to go and see what's happening up in Middlesbrough, Saltburn, or Redcar, go and drive up.
Yeah, exactly. And that was something we just said on Jerry's show as well. The fact that Jerry had gone down to Watford, this isn't about creating little silo communities across the country and stopping people from talking to outsiders. This is about a community or lots of small communities within one big community, which happens to be the whole of our country.
And I very much try and go to local events when I can that aren't in the community. I was planning to go to one in South East Herts today. I know I'm going to the CSR luncheon in North West London on Wednesday. So it's about going to ones that aren't in your district, but there are people there who may be work in your district, they may be going to that coffee because that's where they're free that day because they've been told to go there by someone saying there's this person, but they may live in Watford or they may live in Redcar, or I may have family in Redcar, but they may not know what's going on. So it's about sharing information about what is going on in every district, so then people can find out and say, oh, that sounds really interesting. My brother might like that. Sending him the information. There's another person who's interested, and they might not have done it if I hadn't shared it.
Yeah, exactly. So what's going on? Well, what's coming up in your area?
It's a quiet week this week. We've only got the L4G youth drinks on Tuesday night this week. It's surprising because it's July started on a Friday. Everything's kind of been pushed back week. So we've got an extra week this week, and it's very much the only thing on this week is the L4G youth drinks. So come along. It's Tuesday night in the Moon Under the Water where we were on. This heat is getting to me. I'm awful today. Where we were last night, yes, that was last night. It's Thursday. I've got lost track of the days. So Tuesday night, Moon Underwater, 6 p.m. to whenever you want to leave. Moon Underwater for L4G youth drinks. I just want to pop in a couple of things. We have a launch on the 28th of this month, so that's on 2 weeks on Monday, so that's the 28th, or in Northwood, which is about 10 minutes out of Watford, and it's looking to have a coffee there. We found a coffee shop holder who's interested in having a coffee, so we've given him some stuff, and I'm going to go along and support it and see what happens from there, whether he takes over that as his event or he still wants me to come down and support him, or Chris to come down and support him, or someone else. And I've got a bit of national news and kind of breaking news for the whole of L4G. In fact, we're going to have the first L4G curry.
Cool. That's
And
all organised now, is it?
It's all organised. It's been talked about before. I've got the booking all made. It's on Eventbrite, so you can check that out. I'm hoping that we're going to have a lot of people there. Space is limited, so book in early. I mean, they've said the private room we've got can cater 15 to 16 people, which I think is generally the best amount. So you can have enough conversations without having to talk to everyone and not get deep enough to get to know people, but it's not 5 or 6 people. So get booking early, because I might have to limit it. So book in now before you run out of space.
And what did you say the date was for that?
The 8th of September, but we'll be talking about that for the next few weeks and drumming up support and stuff.
Good stuff.
Quick word on training before we decide to pop off, because we're nearly done here. Monday we have the Facebook half-day workshop. I'll be on that. I believe it starts at 12 o'clock, so if you've got a business page, if you think that I've got a business page but you don't know what you're doing, how it's different to a personal page, check that out, and I'll be on there. So it's good enough for me, it's good enough for you. And I know next Tuesday, I believe, is the start of the Google Plus Accelerated Learning Program, which you'll be hosting, so I advise everyone who's using Google Plus to get onto that.
Yep, it's actually the 29th, so that's not next Tuesday, not this one coming up, it's the one after.
Okay.
And at the moment on the main page on the website it says between 2 and 3. It's actually going to be between 6 and 7. The one that is between 2 and 3 is actually starting on the 2nd of September. So you've got one starting Tuesday week that will be 6 till 7 in the evening, another one that will be 2 till 3 in the afternoons that starts in September. There may be some more in between, but those two are fixed. And for anybody listening and thinking, oh, I can make most Tuesdays at 6 till 7, but I'm not going to be able to make that one because I'm actually going to be away for a week because the summer's coming up. Don't worry, because these are not on the Google Plus ALP. If you cannot make a week, you will not miss out because they are recorded for you. So you will still be able to see the session, you will still be able to learn that. And even at the end of it all, if you think, well, I went through that, but I can't remember some bits, or I know that we talked about that, oh, I'd really like to see that again, you can watch the whole sessions back again, because I record every single one for those people that are on the Accelerated Learning Program, so that you can catch up and you can go back and review for a certain period of time after the end of the actual program. So please, if you've got 1 week or maybe 2 weeks within that 6-week period where you know you will be on holiday, don't let that put you off actually coming and joining us, because you'll be able to catch up. And we also have a support group where you can come and ask questions as well. So if you watch a session back and think, but I wanted to ask a question, you can still ask the question, because I'm in the support group there to answer your questions as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was brilliant. I mean, I've noticed from getting on Google Plus when I first joined Link Growth, because it was the thing we were told to do, join Link Growth, get Google Plus. I went, okay, but why have I got it? And never knew. I mean, I joined the community, but since going on it, you start to tailor things more. You know more about the intricacies of Google Plus. So it's about setting up circles for potential people who want to join the community. I know every Friday after the show, I go, everyone who I've put in a potential circle for a community, I'll invite them to join. There's a few who haven't yet, but it's grown from 50 in April to now about 120 just by me inviting them, people and sharing it. And you learn little things that may not seem really important, but it's little things that can boost it from good to great and from average to good. So surely it's worth the £97.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else that you want to share?
I've got nothing else to share. Have we had any comments, questions, feedback?
I think everybody's enjoying the sunshine today, so
yeah.
They're being very quiet. They were very quiet on Jerry's as well,
Okay.
but I know that lots of people watch these back after the event as well as being here live with us. We usually have more people live, but who can resist going out in that sunshine?
I'm not tempted to go out. It's too hot for me. I'm just sitting inside. keeping my head down.
I will be back out in the garden, and I need to remember tomorrow, if I'm sunbathing and enjoying the sunshine, to come and join Chris on his L4G news update show, because that is tomorrow on every Saturday at 3 o'clock. And last week I missed it because I was enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah, new show. If you watch the new show, brilliant. If you haven't watched it, it's very much a national show telling you what's going on nationally, where Chris has been. So he takes my role in this and says where he's been nationally, what's happening nationally. So if there's any new copies, and what happens if you're watching that one day and you hear, oh, my auntie lives in that place. She might like to go to the coffee that's being launched, or she runs a charity in that area. She should get involved. She likes the idea and she wants to get involved. How do you go about that? So it's a great way of finding about link growth nationally, and we talk about training on there, and I take some of that and talk about it here, but it's more national. You can find out what's happening nationally in link growth.
Yeah, exactly. So for anyone that wants to see that, that is on a Saturday at 3 o'clock. And all of these community TV shows are recorded for you as well. So if you can't make it live, still RSVP to the event so that you get a reminder and don't forget where it was, and you'll be able to go along and actually watch the recordings as well as watching it live. And I just lost my whole train of thought, as well as watching it live and adding comments and asking questions whilst we are on air.
Yeah, I'm done. I've got nothing else to say. It's been a quiet week, but it's a busy week again.
Cool. Okay, so we will be back same time next week, and we will see where Alex has been then.